Hello, everyone. This is Jericho Spitz, and this is not another episode of THC Talking Higher Consciousness. This is actually just uh, a random live news update from me concerning some evidence I just came across for uh, some corrections that need to be made in our history books. And I would just like to present something to you guys that you can go on Google Earth and see for yourself. It's not something that can be conspiracy covered up and hidden away. So you get to see this with your own eyes. So the coordinates are in the uh, caption setting for this post. And I would like for you, if you have the time or the inclination to get on Google Earth, go to googleearth.com, earth.google.com, and go to these coordinates. I'm going to show you. If you're looking at the screen right now, you're looking at where I am right now. I am in the Fort Knox Studios building in Chicago. And what we're going to do is we're going to zoom out of here. Ooh, Lake Michigan. Whoa, we're facing the crazy wrong way. But anyway, we're going to just zoom all out. Let's go around the planet because we want to go to the island of Madagascar right off the east coast of Africa, to this place here. We're going to go to Manakana, Madagascar. If you go to this place, and for those of you who maybe I don't know, maybe need the coordinates are 17 degrees 49 26 south, 47 degrees 24 36 east. Thanks, Jay. I see you. Thanks for joining. I hope you get on Google Earth and check this out, because this is some crazy stuff we're getting into right now. So if everybody just looks at my screen, you're going to see this place called Manakana. Now I'm going to zoom out just a bit so you can kind of see where we are. If you go to Manakana, you kind of go, well, let's get the map adjusted right so that we're facing, now this is north. Now, this what you're looking at on the screen is an ancient tree stump. Now, maybe you say, okay, that's impossible. How big could that be? Well, let's measure it from one side to the other side. That's a, ooh, wow, 12,000 meter, 12,000 meter, 42,000 mile, 42,000 foot diameter. Let's see, how many miles? Let's convert 42,000 feet into miles, and let's see what we get. Convert, that equals 8 miles. That's 8 miles across. 8-mile diameter. Are you serious right now? Like, this is crazy. I can't even believe this. That's amazing. Like, how can a tree trunk be this far across? That's crazy. So anyway, what we want to do is we want to show you, because you're saying, well, how do you, show me that this is a tree trunk? Well, if you were to get on Google Earth and take this and zoom in yourself, there's, the 3D function that you can hold shift down and drag it. And you can actually see as you go around this tree. And yes, it is without a doubt 100% that this is a tree. And if this isn't enough proof for you, don't worry. The proof is coming in just a few minutes. I'm going to show you what look like and can be nothing else, in my opinion, humbly, although I'm not a geologist or anything, but I'm sure most of them would agree that these are leaves. These are needles, like something on a cedar type tree. And they're everywhere, and they are huge. And if you, let me zoom out for just a second. If we go to the north, turn this around. If we go here to the north, just to the northwest of this tree, you'll see some huge ones laying on the ground. These are like almost like pine kind of needle like tree. Well, some type of foliage from a cedar family type tree. And if you look at some of these, they're actually huge, like as taller, or I mean, taller than, as tall as the Sears Tower or the Willis Tower. These things are huge. Look at these. Do you see how big some of these are? I found one that's really, really long. I want to show you guys. I believe it was right here. Was that the one? Look at this. What else could they be? I mean, first of all, if you look at the stump, if you're looking at the stump and you ask yourself, what could this be? I mean, let's take a look at this. Look at this. If anybody knows anything about what's the name of that mesa plateau that they call a plateau, they call mountains with a perfectly flat top plateaus, and they give us this BS explanation of how nature could have created this. But if anything, this was a tree larger than most, cities, and um, it was cut down. I don't know who could have cut down such a massive tree, but this is beyond doubt, in my mind at least, a tree stump. Um, I watched a video from a guy, I believe he was Russian. I can't think of his name right now, but he had a video on YouTube that I saw, excuse me, a while back. And I might have posted it in his group, in the THC group, but I know I posted it on my profile on Facebook. But there's a video called There Are No Forests on Flat Earth. And I remember the title catching my attention, and I just couldn't believe, what did he mean? There's forests everywhere, there's trees everywhere. Well, according to, what he was trying to convey in the video, there are no trees because there aren't really. See, this was a tree. What we look at today and consider to be trees is grass compared to what these trees, compared to the size that trees used to be in ancient times before something cut them all down. Because in that video, There Are No Forests on Planet Earth, you you get many, many, many examples, and all over the world, of what we call plateaus that are literally trees that are no longer alive. But this is the first one that I saw. Well, I did see one on a video that had large chunks of trees cut that were petrified, and then when they tell us that it was petrified, I'm really questioning that, because it's really um, it's really a lot of evidence backing up that trees could have been silicone based life in the past, and that some of these huge 8 mile, multiple mile high tree, 8 mile in diameter, multiple mile high trees were in fact silicone based. And this is why trees hold so much memory. Everything is crystals. Water is crystals, and memory is held in crystals. And some of these ancient trees hold a lot of knowledge, a lot of wisdom that I believe can be accessed somehow, if only we learn to speak their language. So, bottom line is, if anybody has the time, the inclination, the expertise in geology or plantology, I mean, if you're a botanist or you know anything about trees, you know anything about not archaeology, I'm sorry, but about ancient um, fossils, ancient remains, and you can analyze this from a more geologically educated perspective, I would welcome any comments. Yeah, that's right. I would welcome any comments. Please add any links, any books, any videos that would give us more information on this topic, whether you're debunking it or whether you're confirming these findings. Please share what you have with the group. We would really appreciate having as much uh, information on this as possible. I see you here, Lauren. I got Vito. What's up, Vinny? I love you guys. Thanks for joining the show real quick. And Vito says to look into Devil's Tower, South Dakota. And Vinny said the same thing. And that's what I was mentioning before. The one in Amazon, I couldn't remember the name of it. So Devil's Tower, I've analyzed that myself. And the guy who did the video for There Are No Forests on Flat Earth, that guy was mentioning Devil's Tower. And basically, when you look at it and take into account the factors that he was pointing out, it's pretty much, in my mind at least, undisputed that Devil's Tower used to be a tree. And just it's really about finding out what in the world could have been big enough to cut it down. That is the question that's running through my mind right now. Because if a tree is 8 miles wide, I mean, what can cut it? What can cut it flat like that? That's crazy. So long story short, please share this video. And I pray that anybody who has any expertise or any knowledge about this subject in general, or if you have any other findings of trees and different fossils that look like ancient giant trees, like please add it to this thread. Share all the information you can, because I'm doing my own research on this, and I would love to be pointed in the right direction by anybody who has any insight about things that maybe I'm unable to have access to, or whatever. But this is real. This is the real deal, people. Like, all I'm saying is that basically our history books are not giving us the whole story, and that's what I'm after here, the whole story. Because see, I know that this topic is more about uh ancient ruins, ancient remains, and not necessarily higher consciousness, but it does affect our consciousness when we are not being told the entire truth about our past and about the past of this planet. We're not given full information. So until, I feel like I am living on a planet where the rulers of the planet are not hiding information from the masses, and hiding history, and hiding science, and hiding things from us that would empower humans to be free and independent and self-reliant. There's enough resources, there's so much here that could be helping so many more people, but it's being hoarded. And it's being hoarded through a lot of lies and a lot of cover-ups and a lot of misinformation, that people don't have the information necessary to think outside of the box. And that's what this is all about. The THC group is about us learning how to think outside of the box and raise our consciousnesses to levels that we didn't even know were possible. So one of the steps in doing that is to know your past. And I think that sharing information that broadens people's perspective of what our past could have possibly been, or any evidence that proves that it was something else, I think that we need to share that. We all need to know these things. So let's see who else is let's get to some of your comments. Vito DePerte says Black Hills and Badlands looks like a tree stump as well. Yes. I definitely agree with that. This was a cool read regarding ancient giant trees. And Vinny Trimley left a link, secretenergy.com/news/r hyphen these hyphen giant hyphen prehistoric hyphen trees. Go to that link, and I'm sure you'll see some more evidence on this topic. Thank you so much, Vinny, for posting that. I appreciate you sharing what you know. He also said there are theories that the devil's. Okay, I got to that already. Let's see. Gloria said there looks to be a root system below it. Definitely, there is a root system. You can see that. Satellite views are just really making it harder and harder for these things to be hidden from the world at large, and that's just a blessing to us that we have these types of tools at our disposal to find these things, and then the internet as a tool to share them with people in a split second. And I mean, I'm grateful that I'm able to go live and do something like this and share this kind of information with so many people. So thank you, Lauren, for joining the discussion too. Yeah, I agree. You can see the roots. Gloria just posted a YouTube channel in the comments. If you guys want to go check that out, it's probably on this subject. Thanks, Tito, man. Thanks for joining the conversation. I see you there, brother. Vito said, I think millions of years ago, giants used to roam the earth. Atmosphere was thicker, everything was larger. Lizards and birds were the size of dinosaurs. Trees were miles high. I actually have to agree with that based on all the evidence that I've seen in researching this subject, Vito, that you are 100% accurate on that. I wish I knew more about how humans lived back then, but I have actually seen evidence in the lectures that Klaus Dona from Austria and Michael Tellinger from South Africa, who ran for president there, give in their lectures. They present a ton of evidence, I mean, a mountain of evidence on the subject of ancient megalithic societies that ruled this planet before the written history that we know about. So if you listen to those guys' lectures, you will come across a whole lot of information and a whole lot of proof and evidence that humans were in existence around the time that dinosaurs were still roaming the earth. So we're not given the full truth about that. We're not given the full truth about carbon dating and how it works and how it can be manipulated. There's a whole lot of things that we are just not given the truth about, and I just hope that this can be one of the hubs for people to share information so that we are all enlightened more on the subjects that have been hidden from us for so long. And Vito says giants built the pyramids, brother. You're very, very well, could be 100% accurate on that. I will say that I believe that the technology exists today for us to move 100 ton stone blocks because we know how to direct sound frequency at the resonant frequency of the stone to make it lift off the ground and levitate. So I don't believe necessarily that humans could not have built the pyramids just with the technology that has been hidden from us for a long time. But now people study cymatics and they can make anything pretty much levitate in the air if you blast its resonant frequency at it. There's a million videos online about it. I mean, this is undisputed science. We know how to make things levitate using sound. And I mean, I'm not saying that's how they built the pyramids, but I believe that that's probably the most convenient, productive, and efficient way that they would have been built by humans if humans built them. But like you said, giants could have built them. And there were giants in ancient Egypt, in my opinion, based on just what I've seen from the remains, from the statues, and all of the different stela and different pictures that they carved on walls. There's so many pictures of showing the pharaoh, showing different beings and gods that were bigger than humans, but I believe these beings were physical beings, and I think that the evidence that there's enough evidence to actually show that that's a more likely theory than that they were not. And then Gloria says they found giant skeletons to prove it. Yes, you are right about that. They have found a lot of giant skeletons. The Smithsonian has covered up more giant skeleton remains and discoveries than people would, care to know. You'd be really pissed, and they'd probably tear the Smithsonian down tomorrow if people knew what was being hidden from them in there. But yeah, 33 feet tall people. This has been found in more than one place, and the evidence is out there. All people have to do is start researching the subject, and you're going to find out that you have been lied to, and that you know there's a lot of people out here who have evidence to expose these lies. And if you search for it, you're going to find it. And if you find anything that we haven't mentioned or that hasn't been dropped here, please share it. Please bring it to the group, and let's talk higher consciousness about it. Let's talk about how having a false version of history programmed into your operating system can limit your ability to achieve higher consciousness. And let's see, Gloria says we need to break through the cognitive dissonance. Yes, we do. There are many of us that are not allowed by our own limits and fears to believe absolute truths because of the massive amounts of falsehood that's been programmed in us in 12 years of school and in religion and culture and all of that. So definitely, people, if you're having trouble with cognitive dissonance, I would suggest that you educate yourself as much as possible about whatever is causing the cognitive dissonance, because the only thing that can remove fear is an understanding, love, and an understanding. Like, understand more about what the topic is you're having the fear about. Learn more about the details, the science, the math, so that it makes more sense, and then you'll understand it, and there won't be so much cognitive dissonance. So anyway, Betty says, I don't know about giant humans. I do believe that there was a race of humanoids that were 12 to 13 feet tall, but 33 feet, that's a bit much. Well, it's no doubt that the Anunnaki were definitely tall beings. The beings that came and created the human race in ancient Sumer, Mesopotamia, and that the Sumerians have written so much about, that Zechariah Sitchin, translated all of these different uh, tablets that they found in King Ashurbanipal's library in Nineveh, the city of Nineveh, that we always thought was a mythical city that Jonah was directed by God to go to in the story of Jonah and the whale. But we found out that that city is real. It was uncovered, and they did discover a library there, King Ashurbanipal's library. This king was mentioned in the Bible. He had a library. They found over 20,000 tablets in this library. And after those were deciphered by Zechariah Sitchin, and now since then countless others who have verified that most of his work is pretty accurate, these beings were purported to be very tall, 13, 14 feet tall, according to the ancient Sumerians. And our history books and our different scholars who have these degrees and shit, they can say, oh well, that's mythology. Really? Well, maybe it was mythology, but I don't think that people would have went through the trouble that they went through um, to record all of this information if it was just falsehood. It just doesn't make much sense to me in that direction. So, long story short, let's get to the next comment. Vinny says they found 12-foot tall skeletons in Wisconsin, if I'm not mistaken, and you would be correct on that. They found actually giant skeletons multiple places all over the United States. The Smithsonian is there with government agents, always getting it cleaned up, picking it up, hiding it from the public, because they don't want people to know about what's really going on here. I see there's an article from SOTT.net that Vinny posted. You guys might want to check that out. It says 18 strange giant skeletons found in Wisconsin, sons of God, men of renown. Yes, the Bible speaks of the Nephilim, the sons of God, the men of renown. These were the offspring of the fallen angels, so to speak, or the fallen Anunnaki, and actual human women that they mated with. And well, they say giants roam the earth, and that's the story. So hopefully this video and what I'm showing you guys on Google Earth right here is giving you some type of insight into how big, into the scale of what has existed on this planet, and how big, you know uh this planet must be in order to support life. A tree that can be this tall, 12 miles in diameter, 8 miles, 12,000 meters, 8 miles in diameter is a big fucking tree. Are you serious right now? Like 8 miles in diameter, that is a huge tree. Can you imagine how tall that tree must have been? Miles and miles. This is just beyond mind blowing for me personally, to have this kind of undisputable evidence sitting in front of my face, showing me that there are basically what looks like cedar foliage. You know, what else could it be? This is foliage all around here. Look at these leaves. Look at these. It's like pine needles. It's like cedar needles, cedar foliage. This is all over here. Look how long look at the, what else could this be? Are you looking at this? Please tell me what else this could be, if this is not a leaf from a tree, probably in the cedar family. There's nothing else that this could be. This makes no sense. I mean, like, really look at this, people. Oh my God, this is so crazy. So, with that said, let me go back to the comments and see what people are talking about. Let's see. Gloria said, it's possible the Nephilim were taller than 12 feet. Oh, of course. I mean, anything's possible. And until we have more facts, more archaeological evidence that is not being hidden We're just going to have to keep doing as much research as we can. And there will always be whistleblowers from these museums and from the government agencies that have to cover this stuff up. And there'll always be people that will be taking pictures, taking videos, and sending this stuff out to the internet, the best way they can before they get killed or silenced somehow. We're going to be always coming across, we're going to always be given new information. The thing is that it's not going to get to us on our computer screens through any means of the mainstream media or any of the major social networks. We have to go and dig and find and look for maverick scholars who are willing to put their life and their reputation and their families on the line so that you and I can know the truth. These are the heroes, the unsung heroes that we need to be praising and giving our support and donations to if we have any extra money to help out with. But let's see. Gloria says, I think the 33-foot tall one was found in Antarctica. I'm not 100% sure on that personally myself, but I know that around the world there have been some very huge skeletons found, and all one has to do is get online and Google giant skeletal remains. You'll find plenty of it in the ancient, and not ancient, but in the news from 30, 40, 50 years ago even. There's all kind of articles all over the world about giant remains being found. Where are those remains? In basements, like in basements of institutions like the Smithsonian Institute and places like that. I wouldn't be surprised if the Vatican has some giants, in their basements and their vaults and their, where they keep all of the evidence, if you will. Then he says, anti-gray, brother, the black box that Edward Leedskalnin used to build Coral Castle in Florida, either sound or mercury magnet combo. Yeah, I mean, there's a video called Ancient Knowledge on YouTube. It's 7.5 hours long. I would recommend anyone who is seriously trying to understand cymatics, higher math, and higher consciousness, and how this information and how information about cymatics and information about higher consciousness and alchemy, meaning not necessarily led to gold, but transforming the human into a light being. This kind of information can be found in this video, and I suggest everyone to watch it. I've actually watched it myself probably 5 or 6 times. It's 7.5 hours long, but it's one of the best videos that comprehensively amalgamizes a lot of information and a lot of esoteric stuff that most people don't know. And if you watch it and you're well read, you're going to see a lot of stuff that you know, but you're going to also see a lot of stuff that you can't know. It's so much, and it's such diverse information. One person can't possibly know everything in this documentary, but it really gets on Edward Leedskalnin and Coral Castle, and it really goes into depth about how he left clues for how he did it, and in the actual stonework using math. And they outline the math, break it down for you. It gets into prime quadruplets and higher math stuff like vortex math that really just blew my mind when I first came across this. But I would recommend anybody that wants to learn more about cymatics and how to make things levitate and move heavy stuff, watch Ancient Knowledge on YouTube. Type in Ancient Knowledge. It'll be the 7.5 hour video. You can't miss it. Also, let's see. Very cool, Gloria Farber. I'll have to read up on that. Gloria said, I'm glad science is finally proving the mythology. Right? Yes, sure is. Then he says, is it possible that trees could be the literary tree, that the tree could be the literary tree of life from which all descended according to the text? I think anything is possible, but I would also say that there are just as many trees as this big, if not bigger than this, around the globe that could have also been, the tree of life, if, the tree of life is anything more than a metaphor. It looks like the leaves all around the base, Gloria said, and yes, I agree. So, like I said, the coordinates to this are in the comments of this, or in my description for this video. And it's the Google Earth coordinates once again: 17 degrees, 49, 26 south, 47 degrees, 24, 36 east. And this is once again in Madagascar, in Manakana, Madagascar. Literally mind-blowing, proof beyond a shadow of a doubt. If anyone can debunk that this is not the remains of an ancient tree, please contact me, because like I would really love to see the evidence that you have to support it being anything else. I mean, I'm not saying that I'm 100% right here, but I would really love to know if anyone has any evidence to the contrary. Until then, in my mind, I believe that I know enough to know that this is the remains of an ancient tree. And those are the remains of that ancient tree's foliage. And until someone shows me any better evidence, this is what I'm going to believe. I'm sorry, but this is just mind blowing and indisputable to me. With that said, I'm Jericho Spitz with just a quick news break, if you will, news brief, if you will, about this new evidence that came across my desk today. So anyone that has anything you want to add to this discussion, it doesn't have to be during the live viewing. You can add it in the comments of the video in the THC Facebook group, or I might even take this and put it on my YouTube channel too. And if you want to continue the conversation in the comments, we can do that. And I will definitely be responding to any replies and researching any links or any information that is shared with the group or shared with the YouTube video shared on the YouTube video page. So thanks everyone for joining. I appreciate you guys tuning in and having this quick conversation with me. And I would like to thank everybody who posted links and shared their information. I will definitely be looking into more of all of this myself. That's it for now. Jericho Spitz, host of the THC Show, thethcshow.com. Signing out. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day, and I love you guys.